Busy Lighthouse, guys. How are you?
We're good.
Doing good.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me here. I'm excited. Congratulations on the new release, by the way. How's the reception going so far from your past single?
DOA.
DOA squared.
Yeah.
DOA.
I don't know. We haven't gigged as much, so we don't. I don't know. What do you think? Because we did one gig with that song.
We've only played that song once live.
Okay. Where was that?
It was Rockin' Robbie's and what city was it?
El Cerrito.
El Cerrito in the Bay. In terms of reception, though, we've gotten a great response.
Well, that
from
crowd,
fans.
that was a good
Not
crowd.
just at the show, even just people I've talked to, listening to it on Spotify or wherever.
Do you try to get a lot of reception via word of mouth of your music, or is it mostly people reposting your stuff, or do you get friends
Both.
reaching out a lot and saying stuff I like this track more than other tracks?
I find that it's word of mouth for me, at least. I don't know why. I don't know. That's what I've noticed for our stuff. It seems like it's word of mouth more so.
Yeah, I think it's a combination though. Leading up to that gig or some release, our monthly listeners will go up on Spotify. It got pretty high. We're super excited. Then it went back to lower afterward, but yeah.
In terms of social media, because I think why it's different because Jesus doesn't really use social media and Josh doesn't have one. Instagram. It's not no one's fault. I'm just saying Instagram, for example. It's just a thing like that where I find that other bands that have 9 members or something, where all of them post about stuff. That's usually the ones I feel that have the social media will be that more related to that. But I think that another thing though is that Josh, you have a lot of friends that are close knit with you. Same with Jesus. You live with a lot of people that will come out to shows. Mm-hmm. That word of mouth is usually effective. When we used to do shows in Davis, you tell your marching band friends, they'd all come out and stuff like that. And so I think at least from what I've noticed, it seems to work out better that way for us. But I guess it just depends on each person's method of promotion and stuff like that.
You guys have been playing so long. Are you at a point where you see people coming back to shows? Do you see similar faces at shows?
Yeah, I think it comes from not having a super huge fan base too.
Mm-hmm.
But especially when we were gigging pre-COVID, very often, month to month, we would see a lot of the same people.
You guys were playing very frequently before COVID, right?
Yeah.
It was more 2018, I think. 2018.
Yeah, 2018, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
We played a show in 2020, oddly, right before.
Armadillo, right?
Yeah,
February
and that one was a big. That was the one we packed the
best.
house.
It was the biggest show that we had played.
Yeah.
In terms of people.
Was that before everything went down?
Mm-hmm.
So in March
That was
is when
February,
our
I
So that was
shutdowns
right
happened.
before everything went down.
That was the biggest one-off show we did. I think I would say Cherry Blossom's well, obviously it's a festival, but that was the biggest show. Were we headlining? What was the lineup for that?
No, we were right before the headline.
Who was the headliner?
Cherry Blossom.
No, for Armadillo.
Oh yeah, I think
We headlined
It was just
Armadillo.
our set. I don't think we had a headliner
Yeah.
opener. So it was our biggest show for us, And I think Armadillo's. I think just gigging in Davis in general is that's another thing. Why I think word of mouth. It depends where you are also, because I think if you're in the Bay Area where it's so spread out, it's social media is it helps, at least in my experience. But places like Davis where everyone's they're all kind of in the same I don't know, close knit.
Yeah.
It's easy to get people to come out. So.
What I've seen too, if you personally reach out to someone, you're hey, here's our gig, they're gonna be more likely to show up than seeing a post that's
That makes
sent
sense.
to
And they
100
feel bad
people.
if they don't come.
Has
Or
it
they
been
have
hard to
tell
deal
you.
with not being able to play shows?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Busy Lighthouse, since we're so regionally spread out, it's been hard regardless.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and now we're all starting to work again. I know you just started going back to work physically, right?
Yeah, but we got sent back home.
Really?
Really?
Did you just start?
Yeah, we were there for 3 weeks.
Why'd you get sent back?
Now we're back because COVID.
Someone got COVID?
No, it's
Oh.
just
Yeah, but I definitely just missed playing in general,
Mhm.
with
But
Busy Lighthouse and music in general.
Yeah, but out of us not playing gigs, something good came out of it. I guess we've been sort of just working on new music
Mhm.
and that aspect of songwriting. So definitely we do have some songs in the vault.
We do have a song that's done. We just need to mix it.
Yeah, we just have
It's
to
it's
mix
fully
it.
recorded. It's just a matter of getting it mixed.
Yeah.
Age.
How was it recording and putting out DOA to the second after just not putting anything out for an extended period of time?
It was definitely different because of COVID, because we all had to record our stuff individually.
Because me and Harda came here, right, to record.
Yeah, so like they came.
We
here
did some layering here.
Josh
I recorded at your place in Roseville, right?
Yeah. So I mean that was like different in that aspect where we all had to separately record our stuff. But you know, like I was back home that weekend, so I was like, why not? Let's meet up real quick and record this. But yeah.
How much different is that compared to like your normal process? Do you guys have a lot of music that comes out of jamming? Like, is it very collaborative in that sense, or do you ever send stuff back and forth like pre-COVID?
It was, I think pre-COVID, even then, it was a lot of just sending back and forth. I think we did have a couple songs, Isaiah, you could correct me, but a couple songs that we kind of just made up during practices, and we were like, we should turn that into a song. But yeah, it's mostly just back and forth. You know, someone has an idea, they send it off, we all kind of, you know, critique it, try to make it better and more, I guess, our style. And then,
is that on the instrumental front or the lyrical front, or on both?
It's more, I think, instrumental.
Okay. And then when do lyrics come into that process?
Lyrics are usually the very last thing that go into it.
And then do you guys write those collaboratively, or is it more? Is it one of you guys? Like, is it you, Jesus? Or?
Yeah, it's mostly me, but I have been trying to get the guys more involved. I think Isaiah is gonna write lyrics for one of the songs.
And Josh has a song.
Josh has a song
for a long time. We haven't.
That's always kind of an interesting thing with bands, like how they, to me, like how they go about writing lyrics, because. Well, it's because you're so close to that road. But I almost said the name of it. But no, what I'm saying, that's always been an interesting thing to me with how bands go about like writing lyrics, because it's kind of hard to like express everybody's thoughts in one song if only one person's writing lyrics. But it's like you know sometimes it's hard for everybody to write lyrics. Like I feel like it's a weird kind of give and take process that a lot of people approach differently.
For me too, I've always listened to music more pure musically, like melodically, than lyrically. That would be secondary. So, I mean, also for drummers, I think it's easier to put your piece of yourself into a song.
Yeah, I can relate
through musical
to that.
expression rather than lyrical expression.
Yeah, I mean, the first instrument I ever learned was the drums, and I always felt the same way. Like I felt like a lot of like what I took from music was like tempo. And I found that was like one of the reasons I gravitated towards like playing the drums. Was that the first instrument you picked up?
I played piano like in elementary school.
Okay.
So that gave me a good like rhythmic base and some knowledge, but I've been playing drums much longer.
And when did that start? Like when did you originally start playing drums?
I started in 8th grade in our little middle school band, and then I slowly started playing with friends. Yeah. Was
that set, or were you playing like snare or something marching band wise?
Set.
Okay.
Kit. So I started on set. I did some marching stuff, but I'd say kit has been my main focus.
What about the rest of you guys? What instruments did you start on versus what you're playing now?
I started on guitar, but bass was like my second. So, yeah, I started bass when I was 10, and I did it in high school for jazz band. So I met Jesus. So, yeah, I just been on bass, but it's fun to be able to like. It's because I playing guitar in other groups and stuff. So in my other group, so like it's just a thing where it's cool to be able to alternate how I play in different situations, different music, stuff like that. Being a bassist for like a rock group is definitely fun because you don't have to like worry so much about. It's more about energy, yeah. So.
Makes sense. What about you guys?
I've been playing guitar and keyboard. I started roughly around the same time. It was probably like 4th or 5th grade. And that was just for like a kids choir at a church, like the church that my family went to. And then over the years I just like met Isaiah and Jesus, and then I got put in Busy Lighthouse and started playing like electric guitar formally. So that was just a few years ago.
So did you originally pretty much start on acoustic and then you kind of transitioned?
It was just acoustic, like basic guitar stuff that you would play. It's like the same chord progression, but just it's the same. All the songs are the same. Yeah.
That's like they say you can play like 50% of like all pop music with like 3 or 4 chords.
That's literally church music.
With like a G and a D and like an A minor and like an E, and then you can play everything it's ever made.
Yeah, but yeah. So once I got into Busy Lighthouse, that's when it was like a huge transition, because it was like, okay, now I realize I actually want to play electric guitar this way, and not just these chords. You know, I wanted to learn more, kind of piqued my interest, and so yeah. Since then, that's been like the what's the word?
Focus.
focus.
Yeah. Okay. And then Jesus, what did you start?
I started off with drums when I was like 5 or 6. And then around when I was like 11 or 12, I started playing guitar. And then I transitioned to bass in high school. That's where I met Isaiah in jazz band. And I've played other instruments throughout the years in like for band, like baritone and like sousaphone. But yeah, drums, guitar, and bass are what I like to play.
So did you guys all meet originally in high school?
I met last.
The original. Sorry. Well, like I was the original lineup. Yeah, but we met in high school. But I didn't really know Gerardo that well until like senior year college. So.
Yeah. And then
Jesus met Josh.
Yeah,
We
in
met
jazz band.
at UC Davis. We were going together.
Yeah, and Josh was the drummer.
Okay, so you guys started like after you already graduated high school?
Mm-hmm.
So I was the second drummer for Busy Lighthouse. The original moved to Cal Poly slow, right? And
You got there pretty
kinda-
fast.
What? Get out. Isaiah's
I think
kicked out
I
of
don't
the
think,
band.
I don't think it took his time.
Oh my god. The amount of puns that we produce is insane. The amount of dad
Get it from
jokes.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So did you guys all grow up here then?
I'm from LA originally, but
Okay.
the rest of them grew up here.
So when did you come here? Oh, just to go to Davis or
For
whatever?
Davis.
Okay.
So it was my freshman year, right? Your sophomore year is when we met.
And then you guys grew up here in the Bay Area?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's pretty good.
You guys play a lot of shows up in Davis, right?
We used to, yeah. I mean,
Primarily Davis and then
Sacramento.
some areas around the Bay.
Mm-hmm.
But
One in
Davis is
Sac.
for sure our main
Yeah.
spot to play at.
How are those two like? I mean, those are two very different places. Like, how are the crowds in like Davis versus the Bay Area? Are they very different?
I feel like Davis is more like, it's a college town, so it's a lot of kids that are just there for the vibe, there for the music, and like a lot of our friends would show up because like, Josh and I had a lot of friends in band. So
For marching band, it was easier to draw people and like they were okay, just drive 10 minutes to downtown. Let's go.
See a show, yeah.
Or
Makes sense.
bike, everyone on their
Or
bikes.
bike, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You know?
on a bike.
Mm-hmm.
And like my roommate was like the manager in band too, so sometimes we'd have him announce to the entire band like, hey, we have a show.
That's cool.
With, these other Davis bands, come check us out.
Oh, really?
Because the band people also had their own bands.
I didn't even know that.
So
few
whenever
drinks
there
in.
was like a
Oh.
joint gig with multiple bands, the managers would be like, hey, there's gonna be this show on this day. There's gonna be these bands playing.
Yeah.
Come support your band friends. But it was a lot easier in that sense.
Were there lots of bands up there, like in Davis?
There were a good amount.
The music, there's always been a pretty consistent music scene there.
That's kind of interesting because I feel like the town is so small.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why it's easier. I found like it's easier to feel like that people like. I don't know. I feel like when in the Bay Area, it's hard to feel like there's a lot of people listening to your stuff because they're so big. But when you're Davis is like your main.
There's
it's kind
less
of like
material,
exactly, yeah.
musical material to pick from.
Smaller
Yeah.
community, so
Mhm.
the shows feel more lived in and like more people are there. And we've definitely. I mean, I don't know. I think we can. I want to get that circuit running again where we're out in there a lot because that was a good like. At least for us, like I like going out there too because what we would do is, in Jesus' old apartment, we used to like go there. We'd have a show on Saturday, so we'd go there Friday, and hang out, rehearse, and then Saturday we'd rehearse and like eat a lot, and then we would leave like on Sunday or something. So it was like a mini like vacation weekend type thing.
Just go for a weekend, it's
Yeah.
like a work slash.
And that was always really fun. So
I feel like Davis is the kind of place too. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Davis is the kind of place where you would get a lot of the same people coming back to the same shows. I feel like that'd be kind of a cool environment to be a part of.
Yeah, kind of mostly like people we knew in our group, but then some people around town who would like happen to be walking by, and then it's easy to follow a local band. So
Yeah.
I think with Davis is the venues. A lot of the venues are local. Like they're not like, oh, I'm gonna go pay to see this band. It's like Armadillo Music. It's in the middle of downtown. The window and the stage is right next to the window.
Yeah, like it's a record store, so
Yeah.
you have people walking by or going
get a
to
little
buy
locals,
records,
yeah.
and like, oh, there's a band playing.
Same
Let's
with
check it out.
like
no cover
same with
fee.
Yeah.
what's the other one? Same with Sudwork and Woodstock. It's just like locals too.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to get used to new people.
And I feel like most people who are willing to buy records will be willing to sit and watch some random band they don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of
Seriously.
sense. You guys played at like lots of record stores, huh?
We played at Up the Creek.
Yeah,
And
well,
up,
that's a cool
up the
spot,
creek
yeah.
and And Armadillo. I feel like there was one more. It's mainly those two, but we've done those two a lot. So.
We only did Up the Creek once.
Did we? I thought we did it twice. Feels like we did it more times. I don't know. But Armadillo we've done like 2 or 3 times. And it's always a good turnout. They're really like cool people too. And like we always get like we used to get like El Burrito after. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Right across the street.
Right across the street afterwards.
El Burrito sounds like a.
It sounds like
name of a restaurant that'd be like in GTA.
Burrito.
El Mexican.
There was the one I liked near your old apartment. I like that place a lot. What was it called? You never liked taking me there. Chewy's. That place is good.
Chewbacca's.
Well,
It's called Chewbacca's.
You're Rosie. Yeah, but so yeah, Davis is cool. There's a lot of good food. Raj's was good. We went to Raj's. I went to Raj's the other day.
It's not that good.
Well, for everyone watching, Raj's. I like Raj's a lot, and it's not their fault. But something happened because during COVID, obviously the buffet is not open. So like, the thing with the Raj's is you get food, it's a buffet, right? So you get as much as you want, right? Look at that, I'm growing up. I just turned 22.
Puberty.
So that happens. The bar has a plastic screen. You've been there, right? It's a plastic screen.
Yeah.
And like you have to write down your order on a paper and give it to them.
Yeah.
And then they serve you, which is fine. It's like a restaurant. Like they're doing their best, but there's something about when Raj is actually there. He's the sweetest guy.
Wait, you said on a plastic screen?
There's a plastic screen. So there's the buffet and there's a plastic screen.
I'm trying to
it's like the
envision
COVID
this.
screen.
It's like COVID screen.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Plexiglass.
Yeah, and you know, when we used to go, we'd get like, it's probably for the better that they serve me actually, because I always get so much food and I don't eat all of it. So, but
it's no longer a
buffet. But hopefully when things, Roger wasn't there when I went, and
like
he.
the Raj.
Did I tell you? I
don't know if that's his name.
I saw where his house is. I saw the van in this house
tell everyone
near my house.
the address. no, when we went there, he's a super nice guy. Everyone watching, you should all go to Raj's. When we went there, he gave her sister like free food or something.
Yeah, because like my sister was like vegan back then.
And now you're vegan.
No, I'm not vegan. But she was vegan back then, and like she wasn't eating anything. She had brought like her own vegan food. And Raja saw that she wasn't eating anything, so he actually brought like naan and like a little bit of rice and stuff.
A
for her
dope
to
guy.
try.
That's so cool.
Yeah, this interview is actually
I
just a
want Raj's
sponsorship
right
for Raj.
Shout out Raj.
Yeah.
He's here today.
The one time,
Special
And here
guest.
he
Bring
is.
him in.
it was like super cool because you'd be eating and then he would just bring out fresh naan for everybody.
And he would be
say
like-
what's up.
He would check in on you.
Yeah, he would check in, make sure
Personally,
you're good.
like-
Like,
Sounds like you guys have been to Raj's a good amount of times.
I only went once.
I've only been once too, just
Why do I
never
feel
went
like
other
we've been?
times.
Well, me and Jesus go like
Yeah.
8 times. 8
And then I
times.
used to go all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good place.
I feel like a buffet is like one of the weird lucrative businesses that have been like overly affected by COVID. Like that would really suck for buffet owners.
Buffets usually aren't like. I mean, I don't know. I don't love buffet because either. I mean, I can't be like, oh, it's quick food because I eat fast food, but like. It's actually, I like buffets. I'm going to say I like buffets. I get why people don't, though. That's what I'm going to say.
I haven't been to a buffet, though, like, so long. I feel like the only time I go to buffets are at, like, hotels.
It's the most...
Breakfast buffet.
It's definitely the most lucrative. Yeah, it's like, eat as much as you want.
Yeah.
Like, who came up with the idea? Because I would do that. I would eat as much. It's like, just eat till you feel
like,
sick. He won't go with me there. I want him to go.
Sacrificing quantity for quality.
Yeah, but
You
too
don't
much.
want to go to Golden
Yeah.
Corral. I've been to Golden Corral one time. I left and I got food poisoning.
Yeah,
That's what everyone's.
that's what
No,
I'm saying,
I'm thinking
bro.
of Dickies. Never mind. I'm thinking of Dickies.
Dickies that was in Concord?
Yeah, people were telling me that
that
they
place
get.
got shit on, too. It wasn't very good.
Is it still there?
Yeah.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
We never
The one
went.
in
It's
Cleveland,
bro,
that's
they're
not
turning
my
that into a
fault. I
Chipotle.
offered it to.
That's going to be a Chipotle.
That's probably for the better. I guess. I don't know.
I mean, we should just become
sucks
food
that they-
critics.
sucks that they-
We should stop being abandoned.
Sucks that they went under, but I never got to go there. I wanted to visit it, and Gerardo said he would take me, never did.
Yeah, well, every time I said let's go, you would be like, no. So
I feel like barbecue's a really easy thing to mess up. Like, it's not one of those. There's like there's certain kinds of food where like it's definitely hard to mess it up. You know, like a sandwich place could only be so bad, or like a pizza place can only be so bad.
Yeah.
But like barbecue, you can really mess up barbecue.
You can get sick.
Like,
Yeah.
you can't take shortcuts with that.
I think barbecue is definitely a home food. Like it's a family. It's like a, you know, when we have barbecues here, you make them really really good. I don't know if your mom or dad, whoever made them,
My dad
makes them very good
It's really good.
meats.
I feel like that was one of the.
Arby's.
That was another
we
thing
have
that kind of
meats.
sucked about COVID. It was like, I remember because when it first happened in March, it sucked because it was like that summer was when I felt like everything started to like feel like you really started to feel the effects of like being by yourself and like just not being able to be around people. It was like that summer specifically, and it was like I have so many memories of summer like just having given like a certain feeling, and it's like that was just gone.
And you said because you've never been in. You told us in the last interview that because you graduated high school and then COVID so you've never been like you've been in college yet, right?
I'm gonna get my associate's degree most likely without ever going to college.
That's crazy.
Yeah, dude, that's nuts.
Yeah,
I mean props to you sticking to online. You did online, right?
Yeah, I'm online.
That's impressive.
It's cool.
It's tricky to do that.
It's hard, but at the same time, to be honest with you, I feel like there are like advantages to it. Like, I feel like I definitely am able to get more work done in a shorter amount of time. I have one class. I have one class in person this semester, so that'll be my first class at DVC, even though it's my second year there.
What class?
It's piano.
With Owen? Or?
Yeah, and I think it is with Owen Lee.
Owen Lee? Okay, he's dope.
Yeah, he's cool.
I haven't had him yet, but I had Zeb Lee last semester, and he would always talk about him.
Zeb Lee's
cool too.
Yeah, shout out DVC Music Department.
Yeah.
What did you guys grow up listening to? Like, was it like music that was very similar to kind of the hard rock music you make, or was it different stuff?
You listen to a lot of Train, right?
Train? Where do you get these?
Hey Soul Sister.
That's the one Train song I know. Only.
That's the only Train song
that I know. Oh, that's the only one they wrote.
That's the only one.
Yeah. I listened to
one Train song.
Yeah, I listened to a lot. I didn't really listen to music until like early high school, other than like people showing me stuff and I wouldn't really appreciate it. When I really started seeking stuff out, early on I got into a lot of classic rock just from my dad and a few friends. A lot of Led Zeppelin, Beatles I listened to. It had been in the background my whole life, so I always had a love for the Beatles. I started taking drum lessons like in 9th grade. And I didn't really stick with them. They weren't for me, but as a part of that, I was trying to find music I liked drumming along to, which is how I found a lot of the music I liked, which was, I got into some Police, Rush, some newer stuff, Coldplay, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Foo Fighters. I kind of discovered late high school, and they've become and stayed as two of my very top bands.
That's like two of my top bands, too, like 90s alternative.
So I would say I kind of... Starting in middle school, I started with like 70s and kind of moved to up through 2000s. Alternative rock, some funk in there. I've played jazz since high school as well, so I have a love for Herbie Hancock, a lot of classic people. What's his name? Bill Evans. Like, there's a bunch of jazzers, jazz cats.
Bunch of jazz cats.
Jazz cats.
That's kind of a cool way to experience music, like chronologically, like start listening to like older stuff and then progressively get to listen to newer stuff. That's kind of an interesting. I've never really heard of anybody else who like experienced music that way. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it was also I was very close-minded. I was kind of like, oh, I'm better than the new music. Being like, I don't have a love for this new music.
That's how I was when I was younger. I was like, if it's not Led Zeppelin or the Beatles, it sucks.
I know, but slowly broadened my mind.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of kids who are really into music grow up feeling that way, though. Like, you just grow up saying, like, whatever my dad and my mom listen to is, like, it's gospel and everything else is crap.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
that's me.
For me, it was same thing, Beatles for sure. It was, like, my first favorite band. It really depends on, because, I don't know, if you put in, like, eras or whatever, like, I think high school is when you really start to discover who you like your artists that you find. Because that's when I got really into the Strokes and stuff like that, and like I was really into like pop punk and Blink-182 and stuff like that, and indie. Just like I don't know, I got into a lot of like I can't remember. I got into like Slipknot too because that was when we went to go see Slipknot like in high school. I find that I have like favorite bands in each genre, but it's tricky to be like my favorites growing up. I would say the Beatles for sure, and like. I liked the Beach Boys growing up. Who else? I don't know. It's random. It's really random. There's like Aerosmith in there, AC/DC. Santana for sure was like a huge thing growing up that I used to listen to a lot. Yeah, I like, usually it's the greats. They're all have been in there. Like if you go to the Rolling Stone top 10 bands or whatever, it's they all kind of bleed their way into like my taste growing up. So it's just what you're exposed to. So I'd say my favorite was the Beatles growing up, though.
I think that's like where most people's music taste comes from, honestly.
Yeah.
Like their
It's
parents.
so foundational.
Yeah.
The Beatles as a band.
That's a weird thing. That's what I really didn't like about that Yesterday movie. Like,
Yeah.
I remember, like, I never watched it, but just the trailer for it, like, they were acting like if you just took the Beatles out of the equation, that, like, it would just be, like, the world with no Beatles. But it's, like, in reality, if there was no Beatles, like, they created, like, foundational musical concepts that, like, have created, like, the foundation of pop music now. It's, like, the Beatles had some of the first music videos. The Beatles had some of the first album covers, like, real album art that was, like, meant for album art. Like,
Psychedelic rock they recently invented.
It's,
even, like, pop music as it is. Like,
It's funny because in that movie there's a scene where when he doesn't know that, well, spoiler I guess, but when he doesn't know that the Beatles are a thing anymore, he looks up like Oasis and they don't show up either. Like he's on Google and he's like Beatles and they don't show up, and then Oasis isn't there.
that's the second band.
He looks at Oasis and they're not there
The
because
Beatles, Oasis.
Yeah, because the Beatles didn't exist, Oasis didn't, and all that.
It touches on some of the like downstream effects of it, but
it's
not
a
enough.
cute. I'll say it's a cute film.
Yeah.
But I
it
watched it because I had to. I felt like I was like, as a Beatles fan, I was like, I need to have watched this by now.
Should I watch it?
I recommend it.
It's a good morning watch.
I'll check it out.
It's a good 10 a.m. movie to watch.
Wake up with the
Once you do
pancakes,
the
watch them
cereal.
yesterday.
What about you?
For me, it was like, honestly, I am still getting into like the classic rock bands. Like I was never put onto that growing up. For me, it was always like, well, my parents, whatever they listened to, it was just like baladas and like tropical. I forget what they're called, but it's just like bands like Los Muecas, Los Bukis, Los Angeles Negros. Yeah, so that was like the music I grew up listening to, just like off the bat. But then it was like my brother and sister, my older brother and sister. They were kind of like the who started to like whatever they were listening to, I was listening to basically. And so like my brother went off to college. He got like the iPhone 3, whatever it was, iPhone 3GS or whatever it was.
Oh, with the chrome background.
Yeah, he got that, and so he was like, "Oh, I don't need this iPod anymore." So he gave it to me. I was like in 5th grade. He went off to college, and so that's when it was like, whoa! Now there's these thousands of songs, and the thing with my brother is that like he never stuck with one genre. He would just like listen to everything, and so that iPod just like changed my life.
Yeah.
I still remember like laying in bed, staying up till like 3 a.m. just.
Can you talk to the mic a little bit more?
Oh yeah.
You're good.
I would stay up super late, just like listening to all the songs that were on his iPod. So it was like reggaeton, dubstep, there was like metal in there. There was it's like random instrumental stuff. It's just like a mix of everything that he listened to in high school, and so that's what I grew up listening to. Same thing with my sister. She was like really into Tumblr, and she used that a lot to find new music. And so even like Mac Miller, I was put on Mac Miller by my sister, and like same thing with One Direction. Even like at that time, like she found them super early on.
Every end of the spectrum.
Yeah, and then even like bands like Phoenix, just different styles. Is very different, like the music I grew up listening to.
That's the same thing with me actually.
Yeah.
I just realized when you said that, because I had a Zune. Remember the Zune MP3s, those little black ones, and I wanted an iPod so bad, but I had a Zune. My brother just transferred all of his iPod, because back then it was easy to do that. I think he transferred all of his iTunes and it was like, I listened to a lot of like Tenacious D, which isn't really like as a kid. I don't know if that's the best thing, but I listened to a lot of Tenacious D. They also
Fred Durst.
on my Jack Black, but did a lot of Tenacious D. It was a lot of like 3 or 4 songs from an artist. I would never like listen to the whole discography, but it would be like 3 songs I really liked by like Tenacious D, or like Plain White Tees even, or
That's
like
totally what I did growing up.
or System. Like the first time I heard System of a Down was actually CD, but it was like Radio Video. It was like the first song I really liked, heard by them. But yeah, so that's yeah.
And another really early memory I have like listening to new music was like, so we used to have on demand. It was like when on demand was like a new thing for Comcast. They were like, oh, you can watch all these things on demand. And so music videos, that was like a thing where they would just put a bunch of music videos out. And so like growing up, like both my parents worked, and so there was a lot of time that my siblings and I would just spend at home alone. And so I would, if I got the chance and like I woke up early enough and I got the TV remote, I would just watch music videos.
The battle for the TV remote.
Literally, yeah, it was really a battle. And so I remember like watching the Gorillaz and watching freaking like Hillary Duff. Or I don't even know who. It was like random. It was like a mix of everything. Just like everything that was like hot at that time was just like, here's top 10 songs of this month.
Yeah.
And then other music videos. But then when I finally started listening to my own music was probably again like 8th grade, like late middle school, like early high school, and that's when I started listening to like rap a lot. Middle school was definitely just like radio, whatever was on there, just like Drake, 2 Chainz, freaking Tyga, like all the, I don't want to say trash because it has its place, but just that kind of music. And then high school, I definitely stuck with rap. That was like what I was into. So like freshman year, album that I listened to the most was what was that Drake album with the Head in the Clouds?
Views?
No.
Nothing was
the same. That was the album I listened to.
I don't know why I know
freshman
that.
year, like all the time. And then sophomore year, I listened to, I think it was like Isaiah Rashad is when I like started listening to Isaiah Rashad, and then I got into like East Coast rap sophomore year too. So then I started listening to like Joey Badass, all of Pro Era.
I love Pro Era,
Yeah,
bro.
dude,
Nick Caution, Joey Badass, all
CJ
the
Fly,
oh my
Capital
God,
STEEZ,
Rip
Diamond
STEEZ.
Lewis, yeah, RIP STEEZ. But yeah, that was another turning point with the music, because it was like, holy shit, this is really cool. And like me and all my friends in high school at the time, like that was the music we liked, and so we would all listen to that. And then it wasn't until after I graduated, well, that's kind of what got me into like wanting to produce like music, because I always knew I wanted to play music or like do it, but hip hop definitely made me want to produce and like make beats and stuff. And then it wasn't until college that I like switched up again, like music tastes. I started listening to like Kuko and like bands like that kind of like indie scene. And then now we're here.
That's really cool you listen to Pro Era like that. I don't know a lot of like, Pro Era is a group that I try to talk to so many people about, but nobody really like.
Yeah, it's like if you know,
like
you
that.
know.
Yeah.
But it's like if you don't, you know Joey Badass. People typically know Joey Badass.
That was like a scene that was really influential. Like for me, growing up listening to hip hop was like that East Coast hip hop scene. A lot of it, and then that transition, I got into a lot of like older boom bap from New York and the East Coast too. And I started listening to a lot of Tribe Called Quest. I started listening to like a bunch of Wu-Tang and stuff. But that was like same type of thing, and it was weird because that all stemmed from my love of Pro Era.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. Because like what would happen is I used to use Pandora like religiously, and so when I would find a new artist, I would just look him up on Pandora and play that playlist, and it would just show me another 20 artists that sound like that or make music in that same genre.
It's weird that like concept that Pandora kind of like engineered has been so like influential, because the streaming platforms do that now.
Yeah, they do that now, but at the time it's like that was so new, and it was like, dude, this is so cool.
They really set the stage for what streaming was.
Yeah, 100%. Because now, like, if you listen to any artist or whatever, you do anything cute on Spotify or Apple Music, it just goes to the radio.
Yeah.
It says like whatever, like,
or like more artists
radio.
Similar to this.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like playlists. That whole playlist thing has gotten really big. Just the idea of making playlists, because people in the way back when they used to make tapes and stuff, like they used to make like mixtape. Yeah, like they put their favorite songs. You'd have to record it. You'd have to pull it from I don't know how they used to do it because I wasn't alive, but apparently we had to like rip it from. You'd have to catch it and record it, and then I don't know. That's why I was watching a video on that. Now it's the same thing. It's
that's some intricate shit.
Yeah. that's. I was watching an interview, Strokes interview.
Yeah.
When they're talking about they have to like put the tape in and like
Spotify
wait for it to hit. For real. Gorillaz used to scare me.
Yeah.
When you mentioned the Gorillaz, they used to scare me growing up.
Gorillaz?
Yeah, because they had no eyes.
They didn't scare me, but they definitely like made me feel some type of way, like uncomfortable.
Gorillaz would definitely
really good music.
I feel like I've talked to a lot of musicians that definitely took like solace in Gorillaz, because it was cool that they like engineered like that like idea of like living in the internet to like a physical age. And there's so many kids that were like totally raised by the internet. I'm definitely one of those kids that like grew up where like everything they learned was like from the internet. Like all the influence in their life, a lot of it anyway, came from the internet, and just finding music through the internet. And like the Gorillaz like were that on a physical level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Them and I think like before them, not in an internet way, but just in a more like I guess like a in a different way. But MF Doom was a lot of that too.
Mm-hmm.
I think of that in the same way.
Yeah.
Characters, you know, it's just
Exactly.
cool. I like characters and music and stuff like that. Even like with Slipknot is obviously different, but it's like, you know, their number. I guess that there's like clown and the numbers like 1, 0 through 9 stuff like that. Rest in peace, Joey Jordison. But yeah.
For real.
But also, what about you, Jesus?
Oh, my music.
Yeah.
I don't know where to start. I mean, I think like any of us, the Beatles in early age was a big influence. And then like when I first started playing drums and guitar and that, it was all a lot of like Queen and Scorpions. And then like I was very influenced by my parents, but like they listened to a lot of like Latin American music, like Miguel Bosé, like Panteón Rococó, Los Fabulosos, Cadillacs, like all these different genres in Spanish. Like of course there's like a lot of like Vicente Fernandez, Jose Alfredo Jimenez, like all these like big guys that were like big in Latin America. And then like 6th grade, my teacher at the time introduced me to Pearl Jam, and that completely just changed my life because I just got into like super into Pearl Jam. And then like more bands, I discovered them in like 8th grade, going into high school, using Pandora like we were talking about. So I discovered like Vampire Weekend there, Arcade Fire, and then again like going on Comcast and like Palladia used to be a channel there. I don't know if it's. I don't think it's.
They used to post really high definition
yeah,
music
it was like
videos.
very high
Remember that.
definition music videos, live shows,
Oh, wow.
festivals, and I discovered
That's crazy.
HAIM
Forgot about that.
Okay.
on Palladia.
Damn, you were on HAIM before everybody.
Yeah, it was
then.
like 2012 or 2013.
Yeah.
So I like
You had-
really got
I didn't even know they
You
existed.
had a crush on the singer for a very long time. You still do.
HAIM's been around for a long time. It's cool that they're finally getting like mass recognition
Yeah.
They were nominated, right? Grammy?
for
Yeah.
Grammy. Yeah, I believe so. For
What did they win?
For Women in Music Volume 3, I think.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. So good.
Three Sisters.
It was
Yeah.
great. But I remember seeing HAIM perform like at a London festival, and then Lord came on, and my sister and I, were kind of into Lord back then, so we were like, oh, what the heck, we know each other, So it was really cool to see like bands collaborate in that way. But like, yeah, Pearl Jam has always been a big influence, and like System of a Down. I just got tickets like 2 days ago.
That was sick.
Isaiah should get tickets.
Oh, Oakland?
I wish I would get tickets. Yeah.
Maybe.
But
I
I
want
want to go with my dad. And, like that's gonna be fun. Slipknot also. We're trying to go see Rammstein next year too. So like, yeah, I feel like there's a lot of different genres that I've grown up with. But most recently, kind of like Gerardo was saying, like I've been getting into like the indie stuff. Just go on like indie alternative on like Apple Music and just play whatever's on there. But,
That's
yeah.
pretty cool that like a teacher introduced you to Pearl Jam like
Yeah,
that.
I didn't know that.
Like that's not something I love when there's some really great teachers out there that go like above and beyond what they have to do, and that's definitely a good example of somebody like doing something that really changed your life in a lot of ways. Like this teacher did not have to go and do.
Yeah, and like I remember the very first song you played was it was off the Live on Two Legs album. It was Given to Fly, and like at the time I was like more of a drummer than a guitar player at the time, so just hearing like the drum fills that Matt Cameron was doing on that song was crazy. So yeah, I mean I had heard like Even Flow and like Guitar Hero,
All the radio
Rock
hits and
Band,
stuff, yeah.
like that, but like it's a lot different to like get into a band because someone recommended them and not really because they're in a video game.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There's some songs that I definitely like have grown up listening to and still listen to like because of Guitar Hero. To be honest with you, like
Rock Band too. For
yeah,
me.
like honestly, you were a Rock Band guy.
Wait, what was everyone's
Yeah.
game? Everyone had. I had Guitar Hero World Tour.
Legends of Rock.
Legends of Rock.
Band Hero.
Guitar Hero.
Band Hero.
But then
Yeah.
once I got
Get out.
PS3, I
On the
switched
Wii.
to Rock Band.
I had Rock Band too.
You had Rock Band too. I had Rock Band Beatles as well, but
I had that one too.
Beatles.
Beatles
Oh,
Rock Band.
I forgot Rock Band. That's pretty cool.
Beatles
actually.
Rock Band is
Yeah.
like the most
Beatles Rock Band's
visually
very fun.
awesome game.
I still have it. We should go to my
I used to play
Yeah.
Through the Fire and Flames
Oh,
by
yeah.
Dragon Force.
That was the song
Yeah,
to try to
expert, bro.
master.
I could get
on
like
expert.
30 seconds into it.
We had a teacher who had a
Oh my
Mr.
gosh.
Kirkner had
In
a.
high school, he was a math teacher, and he was like, at some point in his life, he became like, he became the best Guitar Hero
He like
player
broke.
in the world.
He would like break records in the
insane.
library.
It's so
world record,
random.
In the
he had
library?
that title like.
It's so random.
And so then on field day,
Wow.
like in whatever classroom he had, he would just set up Guitar Hero and like people would just watch him play.
What?
Yeah, Kirkner. Yeah.
I never had Kirkner, but
It was crazy.
What a
He was a
G.
super cool guy. I love him.
He's still there, I think.
But
Shout out Mr. Kirkner.
yeah, it was crazy, man. Watching him play, it was something else.
There are
I'd never
people
seen
like
anybody move like that.
you can watch like Twitch streams of like real like pro Guitar Hero gamers, and these people are ridiculous.
Yeah,
like
it's
I don't know
insane.
how they're so good at that game.
You're like playing and then they're like going like this. They're just tapping, grab like a
Yeah, they got like
Yeah.
a soda
sip
or
of coffee.
something.
They're just going like
Doing their
this.
taxes and stuff.
Yeah. I saw
Here-
some guy like sorry. I didn't-
No, you're good, dude.
But I saw some guy like replied with text while he was playing, and he was just like strumming with his elbows.
What
That's
the
so
hell?
cool.
So he was like
Yeah.
this.
Just like twitching out.
Was he like this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
that
was
probably
like
looks
really like
insane.
this, and he was like texting with one hand, and he was like.
How's that even
it was crazy.
possible?
I don't know.
It makes me think back to like honestly how bad I was at the game like growing up. I feel like everybody was just garbage.
Yeah, it got hard.
It's interesting if you're a musician and you play it compared to like because
How much does it?
how much
carry
how
over,
yeah.
You know?
Well, how do you? Because drums, it's like it's just the 4 pads,
You
right?
have to play like ahead of the beat too.
The drums
That
are
was
always
always
lagging.
Yeah,
That was always
you
the
have to be like a
problem.
half
Sometimes-
step ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to. I'd be curious to get like the newest Guitar Hero with the newest equipment and then like everything as new as possible, and try with like the really. I want to see how sensitive if they fix the problem.
Become so
You get like a
sensitive.
That's a viral
It's
YouTube video.
Yeah.
A PS5 Guitar Hero if they're making that, or I don't even know whatever the newest one would be. I want to try that.
It's Activision, right? That makes Guitar Hero.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they still making it?
I don't think so. I think
World Tour was on
Rock Band might still
Xbox, I
be-
would
Yeah.
say.
They might be.
Xbox One.
Was Rock Band bigger than Guitar Hero? My impression was
I think
always
they
that
were-
like Guitar
I think
Hero
they
was
were literally
bigger,
like
but maybe
this.
it's just because I played it.
I want to say Guitar Hero was like.
Yeah.
I think, yeah,
Rock
Guitar was
Band
always a
always
little
felt
bit
like it
more.
was like
Well, the Beatles
Yeah.
Rock Band though brought it, gave it
Yeah.
Because they also had,
points like for that for me because the Rock Band they would always do like band. They had Beatles Rock Band. I think they had.
They had a Lego Rock Band too.
Yeah.
I had it on the DS.
That's
I don't know any other specific. I know they had Guitar Hero Aerosmith.
They had Guitar Aerosmith. I think they had a Van Halen.
I had
one.
that one. I had the
Van
Aerosmith
Halen.
one.
Van Halen. I think that was
You
Guitar
played
Hero.
Steven Tyler.
Yeah, he looks
I don't-
crazy. in
Yeah,
video
he was
games.
insane.
He already looks pretty wild, but
Yeah.
in like in the video game,
He
he
looked
looked pretty.
I would
ridiculous.
For my
I
like
also
10th
love Aerosmith.
birthday,
Actually,
my friend bought me Guitar Hero Aerosmith, and I was like so hyped. And I'm like, oh shit, I don't have a guitar or anything to play with. Like he didn't buy me anything else. Like I never got around to getting
Aerosmith's music. I feel like is like more complicated than it's because their music's kind of like a thing where it's like, oh, you like Aerosmith is like kind of not to say basic, but it's just like it's one of those things where it's like,
80s pop
everyone knows
rock.
Aerosmith, but their instrumentation is actually pretty.
Yeah, I
That was
haven't
such a
listened to
scam.
enough of them.
How like Guitar Hero, you buy the game, but they sold the guitar separately.
Oh yeah,
That's
Beatles Rock
such
Band.
a
did that.
scam.
Rock Band is the same way.
Well,
Yeah,
that's-
Beatles Rock
I
Band.
used my Guitar Hero controller for Beatles Rock Band because I was not gonna buy it, and it worked.
It
Yeah,
worked.
Because it's just a guitar, it's just a controller, but it worked for both things.
Oh.
So I
sold was like a Hoffman or something, right?
they sold a Hofner plastic guitar, and they sold the Gretsch one too.
Oh, okay.
They sold
They sold the
like the
Gretsch,
whole
too.
thing, the drum kit, the Beatles drum kit
Yeah.
with the little.
I have the Hoffman
Little
drum.
drum.
I'm actually really
Little kicks.
surprised those two like coexisted without like one like claiming copyright because it seems like the idea is so similar to where like I wouldn't think they could both exist.
Oh yeah.
I want to try DJ Hero.
Yeah. I mean, it could
What's
be.
that?
It could
They
be
made a
something
DJ.
for-
They made a game. I think,
Oh,
I
could be.
think it was Guitar Hero made it. DJ Hero. It was a portable.
I remember that.
Remember that? And it was like 3
Yeah.
clickers, and you had to like I don't know how
What?
I don't know how it worked, but I want to try that.
You're like you're just mixing live.
you just I don't know because yeah I guess you're playing the song. I guess it's like scratching or something. I don't know.
I have no idea.
That's kind of a
No
cool
idea.
concept.
Was Band Hero similar to Guitar Hero and
I never
Rock
played Band
Band?
Band
Band
Hero
Hero?
was just like the cheap version for
Third
families to buy
party.
on Christmas for their kids. Because I remember we got the Wii, like, and that was like the first console we had growing up, and so we were all super hyped. And then one Christmas, my parents got us this huge box. We're like, "What is it?" It was Band Hero, so it came with like the drum set, the guitar, and microphone, and all that. And it was cool. There was a lot of just like random music. It definitely felt like music you would hear at like a Ross or something.
I love Ross.
But
Lots of
there's a
train.
lot of music on there that I still listen to. So like, actually maybe just like 1 or 2 songs, but like Mr. Roboto by the Styx.
Oh, that song's so fire.
Dude, yeah, that
Mr.
I got put
Roboto.
onto that song through that video game, and that was actually the one song that I learned on Expert and was able to play. Like,
Hey.
I would like walk out into the kitchen and like play the song, and like it was just that was like the biggest takeaway I got from that game. But
That's like our
essentially it was the
generation's
same.
MTV.
The Wii was huge.
Yeah.
The Wii was
The Wii was huge. I remember like when I got mine, I was like I'd never been happier in my life when I got
Yeah.
my Wii. And it was like Wii
Everybody
Sports.
It was
It
like
was so fun.
And it was that
I
Wii
still
came out
have
like
my Wii. I still
2000,
play sometimes.
2006
It
or
still
7.
works?
yeah, it came out
2006.
super long ago. But yeah, I just remember like having my cousins over all the time after we got that. Like,
Jam.
dude, you're gonna come over and we're just gonna play Wii all day.
When I got my Wii, I remember I got it for Christmas, but my parents didn't buy me any games. And I was like, and I was like 10 or 11 years old.
It came with Wii Sports,
no
right?
Yeah,
That's
what I'm
all.
saying.
Wii's, yeah.
I didn't have any money. So like,
play Wii Sports.
I just played Wii Sports. And I remember for like a year, the first year I had that Wii, I just played this shit.
That blue disc.
In the little sleeve.
Little blue
Yeah,
disc.
well, I specifically remember it was Wii Sports Resort.
Oh,
that was the better
That was
one.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had the motion control. You
Yeah,
had the little-
exactly. And I remember they
nudge.
had this game where I don't know what like the sport was, but like you just drove around in an airplane.
Oh, that was fun.
I love that.
Like
Yeah.
this.
That was my favorite.
Yeah,
That one was very
exactly.
fun.
And
You're
you were
racing.
Trying,
You
yeah.
fall in the I like to fall in the volcano.
Dino
yeah, me
Island.
too. Yeah, that one. And you were trying to find like locations, and I remember just playing that game like religiously. And that, I haven't thought about this in so long. Thinking back, that's really weird, actually.
Yeah.
Video games have made their way into the records. Actually, first album, there's a
Really?
PlayStation in the background.
Oh yeah, if you listen to Thoughts on the first album, because we were playing Grand Theft Auto while we were recording.
We recorded the first album.
So you
the
kept it
living-
in?
We recorded
Yeah,
the first
so,
album
like-
right over there.
You have to
Yeah.
really be listening
And
for
we
it to hear
recorded
it.
in the living room.
But like yeah, there's like you know how like the PS3 whenever it was like running, like you would hear like cracking. Sometimes?
Yeah.
You hear like a crack in the background in the middle of one of the words, so we couldn't really take it out. So if you listen carefully, you'll hear.
Also, there's like a kitchen thing.
Oh yeah,
Cup.
and in Imagination, like, cause okay, so Imagination, we ran through that song once, but we liked it, so we kept it, right? So that was supposed to be like us just testing the sound and everything. Everything turned out fine, so we ended up keeping that take, and that's what we released. But if you listen in the background, you could hear my mom and like my aunt washing dishes in the background. So like you hear like the faucet running, you hear like the dishes like clinking.
It was before there was any sort of studio or
Yeah.
anything.
I listened to the whole album, and I did not pick that up. So
You have to like listen very carefully. It
did
depends.
anybody like talk to you guys and say like, wow, what is this in the background?
No,
Nobody
one
didn't
really,
realize
no one's
it?
pointed it out.
You really have to be listening.
Now everyone's
for
gonna
it.
hear it.
There's
Yeah.
a song
They're
with
gonna
a
bring
fart,
like
isn't
cups
there?
to shows.
No, that's a demo.
That's a demo.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
What? Oh.
But yeah,
In a time where like so many bands get together and then like they have like a 1 or 2 year run and then kind of they just stop making music, what do you think has like kept you guys playing together for so long?
We have no reason to stop, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like it
While
hasn't
we've-
got to the point where we're like annoyed with it or anything.
And while we've like changed our lives and like Jesus moved farther to Roseville, like we're still in the general area close enough to meet up.
Yeah. He's just moved because he doesn't like us anymore.
that's
He was trying to move as far away as he could.
He sold himself out for.
But also, I think like we all started off as friends and not really as bandmates. I feel like bands that start off as bandmates, you know, and they kind of lose that interest. They kind of stop playing. But since we're all
Sure.
friends, you know, I feel like we just, you know, we're friends first, and then the band stuff comes second. So I think we'll always have, you know, that interest of like that mutual interest of playing together in a band. But yeah, like what Josh was saying, you know, we've all spread out more since we graduated school, but you know, since we're still friends, we're still connected, you know, we're like, hey, you know, I have a song idea, you know, pass it around, you know, guys record what you want on it kind of thing. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that's kept us together, just like, you know, we've known each other for quite a while, and we just like playing together.
I think it's like that with anything, honestly. Like if you want to do something like, I don't even want to say work related, but like professionally related to each other, if you each have a foundation that's built on friendship, everything just works better.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I find that we're still in a place where it's still like fun, and it's like it's not necessarily because we have all got like jobs and stuff, and it's like a thing where it's still very much I think a hobby. It's not like we're super like pushing on like trying to get famous or anything like that, or you know, I mean it'd be nice, but yeah, we're pushing on like we're not like okay, we got this, we gotta do this, we gotta promote, we gotta do all this. I gotta put this out by this date, or no one's gonna listen to it.
Like it's not our number one
We're not-
life priority.
Yeah,
but
we're
it's
not-
still
we're not
there. We're
worried.
still putting time into it.
Yeah, it's still like a thing when it wants to happen, it will. So that I think keeps it at a healthy place, and I think people can tell that when they see us perform because it's kind of like even when we mess up, it's just kind of funny. Like we all just like
Yeah.
Laugh it off and keep
Yeah.
going.
yeah, just kind of like there's been some silly moments live that are just like I'm glad that they happen. Even like stuff with like when Armadillo when you had to play your drum like this. Do you remember that? You had to put your drum like on top.
Oh, because I forgot the snare stand, so we grabbed an extra drum throne, put it upside down, put the snare on the legs.
Yeah.
So like you had a snare sitting on a drum throne?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
And it was in front. It was like he had to hit like this.
Yeah.
he was doing.
And that
hi-hat was like.
And an armadillo too. It's like you play in the corner.
Yeah.
It's a very
super
small
tight.
stage.
It's like only a little bit of space.
We've had to use a mic stand for Tom before.
Didn't we have to use like a?
You had the Tom on the mic stand?
Yeah.
Didn't we have to use a stick one time to keep something in a pedal, like a hole? I don't know what it was. We had
My
this
first drum set.
crazy.
Or so we gone.
No, we had to put a stick.
Put a stick. Yeah, put a stick.
Put a stick.
My first drum set, it was like garbage. It was a groove percussion drum set that fell apart on me, and I remember like within like months of getting it, the one of the legs of the bass drum just broke. So, but it was only like the extended part. So I just kind of jammed a drumstick, like a broken drumstick in there, and for like the year I had that drum set, it just half stood on a drumstick and half stood on a stand.
That's hella
I remember seeing those kids at like Guitar Center, not Garage Band. Guitar Center, and it's like, yeah, these are the kiddie kits. And like, they're like the workers. Like, you can play it all you want. You don't give a shit.
You can smack the shit out of it.
Yeah.
It's all good. We're not gonna sell it. That was how I started playing the drums. I got a free groove percussion. That was sound. What is it? That's what you call it, right? Group
sound percussion is
sound
another
percussion,
one.
something like that. Yeah, but I got a drum set for free, and I didn't even like want it to actually learn how to play the drums. I kind of just wanted it to like mess around with, that. But then I kind of just fell in love with it, and that was like how I learned how to play the drums. It was just like through that. Has distance been a bit of an issue for you guys, like living in different places? Has it made recording more complicated, or since you're still in a place where you're doing stuff very casually, has it just kind of been what it is?
I mean, it's always been a challenge, I would say, for Jesus.
We've never lived
for Jesus and I, but
Really?
Isaiah and Gerardo have always been in the Bay together, so like for your other bands, it's been easier
Like
for y'all to practice.
when Jesus used to live in Bay Point. Sorry, well that's where you live. He used to live in Bay Point. It'd be easier. It's still, I mean, it was easier because it was close. I also didn't drive then, so it was like a thing where I was like, it felt far, but then because we used to rehearse at Tom's house. But then I went to like San Jose State for a semester, and that was pretty hard because we were at opposite ends because you were up north and I was like south. But when we were gigging hard was when they both lived in Davis and we both live in Concord, so that was easy because we carpool, and also if someone couldn't make rehearsal, at least that they could rehearse, and me and him could rehearse separately, which wasn't ideal, but it was like something, I do think we'd get a lot more done if we lived in the same area, but I also don't think we're that rushing about it. So it's just like a thing where I don't know. It's not too much of a hassle. It's just like, it's not too much of a hassle because we make it work. Like me and him will go out there, and they'll come down to us. Like we'll keep it even. We just have to make sure we manage our time correctly because it's hard for. We have to make sure. I guess that does make us play better though, because we have rehearsal, we have to do it, and make sure we do it because then they have to go drive back far at like 4 p.m. So, stuff like that.
I'd say we definitely use it as an excuse too to like COVID plus being far apart, like maybe just like made ourselves push less, or like we can get to that later, but
now that shows are starting to come back, I think we'll start doing that more. But like back when shows were like blocked off, it was more like a thing where we already got the stuff recorded, so we can just do it over Zoom, kind of deal. But yeah, because like I think our priorities I think our priorities all match in terms of when we want to do something. Like it seems like when we're focused on recording, we don't gig, and when we're gigging, we're not writing or anything. So at least that's what I've experienced, because a lot of bands will try to do everything all at once, and it's like it's too much work. So yeah.
So when you guys started, you weren't living in the same place at all?
I was living in Concord in the same house I've been in high school.
Jesus and I were in Davis together.
Yeah,
Didn't we start in high school?
No, we started
Oh, well, you started
Remember
earlier,
we took pictures
2016,
here
right?
with Tom.
Yeah, that was.
It was like
It was either going into college or after the first year of college. So I mean, I was in Davis, I guess permanently, but I was here like in the summer, and that's when we recorded and we did all the first albums.
That makes sense.
yeah, we did all like most of it in the living room.
All home
Sure.
recorded.
Yeah, both were really. The second one like was in a home,
It was
but
in an apartment.
It was in kind of a studio.
yeah, but it was like the same. It was like the same equipment and stuff that we used here, essentially.
It wasn't next to a kitchen though, with, like plates and
Yeah.
running,
Yeah, that's true.
water running.
It was
Josh
like
and Jesus, you guys are out of college now, right?
Mm-hmm.
How's that transition been? Kind of just moving into working full time.
So yeah, go ahead.
It's definitely tougher in the sense that like we can only really meet on weekends.
Yeah.
Whereas before, like when we were in school, they'd come up on like on a Thursday or Friday, and we'd just practice at night. We would have practices sometimes like at 12 or 1 a.m.
You can do whatever,
Just playing
yeah.
super quietly in the living room. But yeah, now it's like, you know, I work until like 6 p.m. and I'm out in like SAC, so it's like if we're trying to have Friday practice, like it's gonna have to be like at 9 p.m. because I can't come any sooner. Kind of
Yeah.
And then like Sundays, it has to be like super early because then I gotta drive home and get ready for work and meal prep and all that. So in terms of like practicing, it's definitely harder in that sense.
You know, what's funny? I just want to say as a quick thing. Me and Hart were talking about this yesterday. That Jesus used to do this thing. He still does this thing, where he'll be in the Bay for like a week and he won't tell us.
Oh, yeah.
And then he'll tell us the last day. He's like, "I've been in the Bay all week."
He'll go to Davis too.
He won't tell anyone. And then he'll be like, "Come to SAC, let's rehearse." I was like, "Bro, you were just here. You didn't say nothing all
See, the
week."
thing is, like, when I do that, it's because I come here specifically to do something.
That's
Specifically
another
to
reason.
ignore us.
He'll come to Watermelon Music in Davis to buy some equipment. And my roommate works there, and then my roommate will be like, "Yo, I saw Jesus earlier." You're like, the heck, he's in Davis? You didn't tell me.
And then he's like, "Come to SAC," and we're like, "Bro."
See, for Watermelon, I usually go there, or not Watermelon, yeah, it's Watermelon. Yeah, Watermelon. I usually go there just to get my guitars, like, restrung, or to buy something small, and then I just dip back to the SAC. So I'm, like, literally there for, like, 10 minutes.
Yeah, for me, the transition's been similar. I'm a year below Jesus, so I graduated in June 2020, which was just wild, like having everything online. So I feel for you. High school graduation online is even that's even bigger transition.
I think that you have it far worse, to be honest. That's
I don't know.
harder.
I think there's a give and take, but
Maybe, yeah, I guess so.
so I started like a real like full-time job in September. It's like almost a year ago. But I've stayed in Davis the whole time. So in terms of like where I've been living, it hasn't changed, and the distance to get to practices hasn't changed. Just like Jesus, we have similar 9-to-5 jobs. So
What are you working as right now?
so I'm at a air quality district in Davis.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I was telling you earlier, just
Yeah.
regulating the air, giving people heads up when there's fires.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, Jesus is an engineer, a civil engineer. He's building our freeways. He's just like out there.
If there's any freeway problems, you can bother
He's the
Jesus.
only one.
If there's
If
cracks
there's
in the
traffic, you can blame Jesus.
Yeah.
I was speeding
I
down
almost-
on the
my
freeway
car
a couple
almost-
weeks ago,
I
so
almost popped a tire the
I'm
other
gonna
day.
blame you for making the
that was
freeways
a
too
lot.
fast.
I almost popped a tire the other day because of your roads.
All the new fast track tolls that they're putting up.
Yeah,
Really?
it's-
The money goes straight to him.
No.
All
no,
your
no,
taxpayer
it-
money.
How you tax your funds, busy Lighthouse?
Yeah, all your guys' taxes are paying me. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm private, so it's different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're just doing like, depends. Like all like the road, like the 680 project. I think that's ours. But
That's cool.
yeah, it's like really cool. Like I never really knew there was so much work that went into
Yeah.
building a road.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like definitely different experience.
I bet.
something new to learn.
And both of you guys are still in school, right?
Yeah, I'm actually starting in a week. I'm like starting again in a week because I got my AA, but now I'm going to SF State for bachelor from music. No, well, I was able to make it so that they're all in person because I was tired of online. So because they're all music classes, so I'll just take all the ones I can do out there. So it's gonna be pretty normal, like going back to school.
You're gonna drive there every day.
Like probably not. I don't really want to take BART, but like I have to, and I live right next to BART, so it makes sense. But I also like driving, so I might drive out there like maybe once every 2 weeks or something. Just have the deal with yeah. So I'll probably take BART.
Too.
I like the cold. I like the cold.
He said toll.
He said toll. Oh, okay. That's crazy. Toll, yeah. So that
You like the toll too.
I like the toll. It's cool. He likes the
I
toll.
love
He gets the
paying
money
the
for
toll.
it.
Pay the troll toll. Does anyone know that reference?
I'll just Venmo Jesus the money.
It's always sunny.
Yeah.
I love It's Always Sunny.
But yeah, so I'll be back in school. in a week.
Has balancing school and music been kind of hard, or has it been easier?
We'll see, because online it hasn't been difficult when I was doing it online, but in person might be a little tricky, but we'll see. I'm not sure yet. What about you?
To be honest, I don't know if I'm going back to classes yet. But right now I'm working. I got a bunch of jobs, and so I'm teaching at a bunch of different places, like schools and the Rock and Robbie store.
Did you do music?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
So it's I'm still in that field, which is cool. But I definitely want to go back to school because I think I'm gonna make teaching a full time.
Yeah.
I think that's what I want to do.
That'd be sick. That'd be a really cool thing to do.
Yeah, I want to go back to school and get full education on that.
Yeah. Especially since you kind of because when did you graduate high school?
2017.
Yeah, so you kind of also had the short end of the stick with the online stuff in college. I feel like.
Yeah, so I only had my last quarter online. You had a full year basically, right?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. There's a lot of classes I had to retake.
I remember in the very beginning of the online school stuff, it was so unorganized.
Yeah,
it was nobody knew what they were doing. Now it's a bit better. I feel like DVC did a pretty good job adapting.
They
to be honest.
figured it out for sure.
Yeah, but then I kind of like the way the Insight works and everything. It keeps stuff pretty organized.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel your writing process and your creative process has kind of transformed as you've gotten older and kept playing with each other? How is it different the way that you write a song now versus the way that you wrote a song when you first started writing?
Jesus would definitely be good.
Yeah, so I think the first album where all those songs are pretty much songs I had written in 5th, 6th, 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you could kind of tell that musically it wasn't that complicated for the first album. Learn to Forget, that was college. That was the last song on the first album. But yeah, that was college. Second album, I don't even remember how those songs came about. But
mostly you setting demos, I think.
Yeah, most of those were demos, and I'm the last 2 years I've been living with one of my roommates, and he's he produces a lot of music also. And I've learned a lot of songwriting stuff from him and production techniques from him. And I could definitely tell the newer stuff that's in demo stages right now is definitely a lot more, I wouldn't say more complicated, but there's more to it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain it. There's more to it for sure. But I think I can definitely tell as a group we've also all gotten better. We've kind of evolved older songs. We've changed them up for live settings, and we've definitely I feel have grown musically together and individually.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are you guys actively recording right now, or with the new single and everything? Are you putting anything else out, or was that kind of a one-off thing?
We have another song that's already recorded. We just have to clean it up and send it off to mixing and mastering. Because we have my cousin does all the preliminary mixing, so he cleans it up. He just puts it together, I guess, and then we've started kind of going through the more professional route. So he's taking care of all that, and then we would just send it off to someone just to mix it. He doesn't have to worry about cleaning or cleaning the individual tracks or anything. So that will be done for the mixer, but we still have to go in and clean all the tracks.
Yeah.
Because we had for our third album, we had most of those tracks recorded, at least drums, and then there's demos for all those, but there's still a lot of work to do.
There's still a lot of work to do. It's been hard because my cousin who does all the preliminary mixing, he was in LA for a couple weeks because just
that was 3 months.
Stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry.
More than a couple weeks.
For 3-4 months, and so that kind of set us back. I'm not saying it's his fault or anything, but we've all been busy with other stuff.
Yeah.
So it's it's fine. We could we had school and work and all that, so it's not something else pressing for us. But definitely, we have some stuff that we need to work on.
Do you guys record music more in album forms? Because it seems you've put out you put out 2 albums and then not very many singles at all. So
we do.
What do you find convincing about like writing a full album front to back opposed to putting out singles?
I feel like, I don't know, I feel like that's how like I grew up like seeing bands. Like I always like envision bands as like, you know, they have an album, like that's the way that music should be released. And like I feel like singles was more of like I mean also back then like I grew up on like CDs. I didn't really grow up on like, you know, streaming platforms or anything. So of course like when I went to the store I want to get the CD with the most songs on it.
Yeah.
You know? So like I think that's why like just like I just grew up that way, thinking that albums were the way to release music. But I mean now like singles are, you know, I think the most efficient way, I guess, to bring out your music, because I feel like people's attention span has gotten a lot smaller and
Yeah,
lower.
definitely.
Yeah, so if we had waited to release all these on the third album together, it would have been a year
so I
plus,
think-
but we were able to get DOA out there earlier.
Yeah.
To kind of be like, all right, here's what's happening. Like, stay tuned. There's more coming.
Jonathan, well, yeah, shout out Jonathan. He was able to make it so that he kind of knows what we look, at least like he kind of knows our tendencies and like what we want it to sound like. I personally really like the way he did the first album, like mixing and stuff. I really like the way the album sounds. It's like it has a weird like raw feel that I really think sounds cool. It sounds like a house. It was recorded in a house because it was, but it sounds like, I don't know. I really like the way it sounds. And so we've stuck with him in terms of doing the mixing for us because he kind of knows how we work and how we sound like best. Because he's really talented as a mixing guy, what is it, engineer? Yeah. So
As a mixer guy.
Mixer.
Mixologist.
That's cool. Yeah, no, but I'm excited to hear whatever you guys got coming down the pipe. I appreciate you sitting down with me. I thought it was just a good conversation that went a lot of cool, funny directions. But yeah, 100%. Thank you guys for doing this.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
100%. All right.
Appreciate you.
This matters.